tutorial, we're going over stones, the king of all strongman exercises. So a couple things we'll go over: simple equipment that you'll need, and some safety measures to make sure that you don't tear a bicep or strain your back, which are all still possible, but we'll find a way to reduce those and get as strong as hell. Here we go. One of the first things that people will look to buy with all of their strongman training equipment is after they've tried stones for the first time. You can see for me, I have permanent calluses on my forearms from training stones without using any sort of protective equipment, or grip aid would be another way of describing it. So sometimes people will buy sleeves to help protect your arm, one, and also assist with grip. If you're gonna use something like that, you see these holes right over here, either use shoelaces or zip ties. I've found zip ties are a lot tighter, and once the weights of the stones get heavy, you do not want this to slip and drop it. That could cost you the whole contest, so my bet would be going with zip ties. In the beginning video there, you saw that I was wearing this yellow shirt. Well, what's unique about it is there's all of these rubber dots on the front, the back, and even on the shoulders. So if you're gonna do circus dumbbell or log, having that extra grip on your body is paramount to being able to control it at the top in the rack position. So with stones, a lot of times what happens is once you get it in your lap, it'll slip down on you because one, you're not strong enough to hold it against your upper body, or if you got a slick shirt on, if there's not enough friction there to hold it there, you'll lose it. So this is another thing I'd advise, getting some sort of a grip shirt. It makes a world of difference, especially once the stones get heavy. I've really found using athletic tape gives me a better feel of like almost a skin on skin feel when I'm using tape. So my recommended method for loading and training stones, if you're going to use any kind of a grip aid or arm protection, is athletic tape with tacky. What I like to use, it's called Elite Tacky. Dave Osland actually took third in the world. He lives in Minnesota. He created this and makes this, and you can also order that at jackalsgym.com. This is by far the best tacky that I've ever used, and I've used a few. But what this is it's almost like a pine tar. Like, it's sticky. You apply that to your arms and definitely your hands, and this will increase your grip strength, I'd say at least 30% from whatever you could do with maybe just chalk and bare arms. This is incredibly important. If you're going to be doing any kind of a competition, you're going to want to get tacky. So a lot of times people use baby oil. What I like to use is Gojo. It's this just a regular hand cleaner for removing grease, tar, and oil. A lot of times mechanics will have this in their shop. This works really well on breaking down, or at least getting in between the tacky and your skin, and it'll fall right off. I like to wear very thick knee sleeves because I grip the stone once I lap it. Definitely recommend getting some of those. Anytime you can add heat to your joints when you're training strongman or lifting heavy weights, I do it. Which is why I also wear these Ray-Ban, basically neoprene trunks. They keep my hips warm, keep my glutes warm, and I've never had any kind of a glute strain from using them because my muscles are always warmed up. Last piece of equipment that I can recommend is getting some sort of a soft belt. So in strongman, it's allowed to wear two belts. You can wear a soft belt like this that's stretchy. It actually has plastic splints on the inside here, and whenever you're doing anything that's as awkward of a movement as stones, you're gonna want all the extra safety precautions, all the extra support that you can possibly get. So in addition to warmth that I was talking about with keeping your knees warm and your hips warm, having that extra warmth and support on your low back, you know, it's just a little bit extra to keep you in the game. And now let's get into how to actually load stones. All right, so I just went and grabbed very minimal tacky. I just take this much. This will be spread out over my hands and forearms, just this amount. So I'm gonna spread it out and show you what that looks like before I load. There you have it. That's all I did. I just have a little bit on each palm, and that should be enough to not make me use my biceps so much. And I train safe. This is another way of protecting yourself. Use some sort of adhesive so you don't have to use as much bicep. The first part of learning how to do a stone is just like with any lift, like a squat or a deadlift. You want to have your feet in the right position, positioning yourself over the weight so you lift it the most efficient way possible. What I like to do is I like to take the middle of my foot or wherever my shoe crease is, that's where the ball of your feet, right here. I take that and put that directly in line with the middle of the stone. What that's going to do is I can actually line up my hands, if I even do the spock, if I do that, and line it up directly over that crease in my foot. If I place my feet correctly, I have a guide to say where I need to grab the stone. That should be in the middle. So if that's right here, I'm already set. I don't have to fumble with picking up the stone behind or in front, having it flip forward or back. I already have a guideline. That's how you see people run up to a stone. They get their feet set, they have the guide, and get their hands set from there. Okay, so having your feet and your hands placed in the correct position is obviously the first step. The next would be how to actually grip the stone. Now, that could sound really simple, just put your arms around it, but I've gone into a little more detail with my training where, again, to activate more of my lats and upper back, I don't simply grab the stone with my hands straight, because I don't only want to pull the stone up, I want to pull it up and into my body, again, with reducing the amount of tension on my bicep. So what I do is once I grip the stone here, I'm actively lifting, pulling my wrist like this. When I do that, I activate more of my forearm to hang on to the stone, and I pull with my elbow. Anytime you do any movement where you pull with, thinking about pulling with your hand, typically you're going to engage more bicep. To get your lat and upper back and rhomboids into it, I turn my hand and pull with my elbow. That gets my upper back engaged. So it looks like this. Feet lined up at the center of the stone. Move my hands directly on top of the crease in my foot. And then to lap it, I turn my wrists and pull my elbows into me. And that's how you lap the stone. Finally, we get to load some stones. So, feet lined up, hands directly over the crease in your foot, turn your wrist towards you, pull with your elbows to row it into your lap. When I say row, just think bent over row. Like you got two dumbbells, rowing them into your lap. Once I get into my lap, the correct positioning, so you can say 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock on the top of the stone, because when you actually go into loading the stone in their front squat movement, having your hands up high allows you to pull it into your body, which is important so that the stone doesn't slip from you. So once I lap it, and I'm right here, I want to get the stone as high in my chest as possible. I don't want to stay right here. So I actually dip down, and if you have any kind of a belly at all, it's actually a benefit in strongman. That way you can use it as a ledge to lift the stone with. 2 and 10 o'clock, and crush the stone into your body. You do not want to be loose. Or if I am loose in my upper back and I start to front squat, it pulls me down. I need to be in control of the stone. Crush the stone into your body, keep your upper back nice and tall. And the last piece is throw your hips where you want the stone to go. If you extend them late, it's gonna go low. If you extend them high after you get the stone above the platform, it'll go where you want it to. Just like that. So there's a one motion with the stone, which is going directly from the ground into your load onto the platform. Otherwise, you're going to do the lap and the load that I just demonstrated in the portion before. This is what a one motion would look like. Woo! Okay. One motioning also expends a lot more energy than you normally would. How you do a one motion stone, if you are going to train it, the main piece that has to be there, otherwise you won't be able to do it, is upper back strength and being able to hold that stone against your chest from the bottom of the lift. Immediately coming off the ground, this part of the stone needs to be plastered to your upper chest, and immediately you need to have your hips engaged to get your belly under the stone to actually leverage it where you want it to go. It's a very advanced movement. I'll do it one more time. I'm going to treat this like a contest. Get ready. Oh. Woohoo! So in general, that's everything you need to know about equipment, technique, things to be careful of, and how to load stones. Go have fun out there, guys. If you're ever in a contest for stones, you're gonna be in grass, this is something you encounter. So it's not the worst thing to have happen, have the stone roll over all the grass, because you gotta be prepared for anything in competition. Ah! Nah. I got it! Ah.
But actually went out to school and met this performance. But anyways, nothing more. Love you guys, and we're excited about what is to come. More information to follow. Right now I'm going to play The Resistance and Skill here on Sirius XM Octane.
So that's my summary on stones and how to get really good at them. I'm really loving making these videos. I'm having a fun time doing it. So if you guys have any suggestions, please comment in the comment section below. Subscribe, share this with your friends. You know, strongman is really fun, and I want to spread the sport and give more people opportunities to learn how to do it the right way with minimalizing the damage that you do to yourself, because it can be pretty rough. But thank you guys. I appreciate your views, and I'll see you next time.